Imagine you are at the grocery store. It's a normal Tuesday. You have got a full cart. Milk, bread, maybe a steak for a special dinner. You're tired, you just want to get home. And you swipe your card. Silence. The machine doesn't beep. It just sits there. Then those red letters scroll across the screen. Decline. You just check your phone. The balance is fine. You just got paid on Friday. You try again. Same results. The line behind you is getting long. People are staring. You walk out empty-handed, feeling that heat in your chest. You call the bank. You are on hold for 20 minutes. When a human finally picks up, they don't help you. They won't tell you why. They just say your account is under review. They tell you to wait for a letter in the mail. They won't tell you why. They can't tell you why. You haven't committed a crime. You aren't a money launderer. But a computer program you have never even heard of decided you are a risk. Think you're safe because you follow the rules? Think again. Look at Nigel Farage. Love him or hate him, he has millions of followers and a massive platform. 1 week, his bank just quit on him. They closed his accounts. No explanation. He tried 9 other banks. They all said no. It was about his opinions. Internal documents later showed he didn't fit their values. If a man with 1 million followers can be erased from the economy in 48 hours, what chance do you have? This isn't just happening to the elite. In some places, hundreds of thousands of accounts are closed every year without a single word of explanation. This is Debanking. It's a silent operating system running in the background of your life. Most people are steered away from seeing it until it's too late. But once you understand the mechanics, you can't unsee it. There is a hole in the system, and it's getting deeper. Here is the part the system wants to keep quiet. It starts with a document you will never see. It's called a SAR. A SAR is a suspicious activity report, a secret note your bank writes about you to the government. They don't need proof, just a feeling from an algorithm. Maybe you deposit cash from a car sale. Maybe you started buying Bitcoin. Maybe you donated to a cause the bank board of the directors doesn't like. Once that note is sent, you're trapped by a gag order. That's the legal muzzle that stops the bank from being human to you. They literally can't tell you why they are freezing your life. If they do, they could go to jail. You are being punished for a crime you weren't charged with by a judge you will never meet. No trial, no defense. Just an empty bank account. And once that flag is raised, your life gets very small very fast. They want cash gone. Not because of a crime. Because cash can't be turned off. A digital dollar needs permission. A paper dollar doesn't ask. Every transaction becomes a data point. Every data point becomes a profile. Every profile becomes a risk score. And once you're scored, you can be sorted. Cash is the only currency that refuses to be sorted. In a world with no cash, the bank becomes your master. Every coffee, every rent payment, every gift, your kids, it all needs their okay. If they don't like who you are, they turn off your ability to survive with one click. You aren't an owner of your worth in that world. You're just a renter. But you don't have to be a victim. You need survival gear. First, the two-bank rule. Don't be loyal. If you keep all of your money in one place, you are giving one algorithm total power over your life. Keep two accounts at two different companies. If one glitches, you have a bridge to keep the lights on. Second, the cash reserve. Digital money is permission-based. Physical cash is ownership-based. Keep 30 days of cash in a safe place. It's the only money that works when the power goes out or when the bank forgets who you are. Third, look for a local credit union. Big banks are factories. You're just a risk score in a server farm. Credit unions are run by people in your community. They are more likely to see you as a neighbor, not a red flag on a spreadsheet. The tax code and the banking system weren't written for workers. They were designed to reward owners. In the digital age, being legal isn't enough anymore. You have to be compliant. We're all playing a game where the rules are shifting under our feet. The most valuable assets you have isn't the number in your app. It's knowing how the system actually works. If the bank can turn off your life with one click, do you actually own your money? Or are you just renting it from a landlord who can evict you whenever they want? It's time to stop being a renter. It's time to start become an owner, because owners don't get disliked. Let's look at the owner's playbook for a second. While most people are struggling just to keep their bank accounts open, the wealthy are using a completely different system to compound their wealth forever. They use something called the zero tax snowball. Wealthy people don't get rich by selling things. They get rich by holding assets and leveraging them to buy more assets. This is the owner's mindset. For the rest of us, the most accessible way to play is through real estate. Real estate gives you cash flow, leverage, appreciation, and tax advantages that you just can't get from a paycheck. Imagine you buy a property. Maybe it's a small house. Every month it makes a little bit of money. But the real magic is in the depreciation. Even if the house is brand new, the IRS lets you deduct a portion of its value every year as if it is wearing out. Over time, that house goes up in value. That's appreciation. Now, here's where most people fall into a trap. They see the house went up by $100,000 and they sell it to cash in. But when you sell, Uncle Sam comes knocking. That's a capital gain, and the government is going to take 50 or 20%. Your $100,000 profit suddenly becomes $80,000. You have lost your asset, and your wealth journey just hit the rest button. The wealthy don't do that. They understand that selling equals taxation, so instead of selling, they borrow against the house. Because here is the fundamental truth. Borrowed money is not income. Debt is not taxed. If you have a house worth $500,000, you can go to the bank and pull out nearly $100,000 in tax-free cash through a cash-out refinance. That money flows into your bank account untouched by the IRS. You take that debt and buy another property. That second property makes money and appreciates. Then you borrow against that one too. This is a relentless compounding cycle. Buy, grow, borrow, buy again. This is exactly why billionaires founders like Mark Zuckerberg take a $1 salary. They don't need income. They have billions in stock. They borrow against that stock to fund their lives without ever triggering a taxable event. And here is the crazy part. When they die, their heirs inherits those assets with a full step up in basis. That means the heirs owe nothing, 1 decade of gains if they decided to sell. The snowball keeps rolling across generations, avoiding the tax reset button at every turn. It's not illegal, it's allowed. It's a system designed to keep wealth within families. For generations, this felt exclusive. The everyday worker was left on the outside, stuck in a loop. Earn, get taxed, spend what's left. You're working 3 to 4 months a year just to pay your tax bill. The difference between these two paths isn't intelligence. It's access. Access to the information, access to the strategy. But most people think tax strategy is for the rich. They are wrong. Buried in the tax code is a trap the rich don't want you to find. It's called bonus depreciation. Here is how it works. Buy a short-term rental, manage it yourself. Suddenly the IRS doesn't see a landlord. They see a business. And businesses can do something landlords can't. Take years of depreciation and claim it all at once. $100,000 paper loss against your W-2 income. The tax bill vanishes. The money stays in your pocket. Think about a typical worker making $100,000 a year. They owe about $20,000 in taxes. If they buy a $500,000 short-term rental and manage it themselves, they can create a paper loss of $125,000 in year 1. Their taxable income drops to zero. That $20,000 tax bill is eliminated. They retain that money. They strategically deploy it. They use it as a down payment for another asset. That is when the snowball begins. Cash flows grows equity. Equity belongs borrowing tax-free. Borrowed capital buys more assets. More assets creates more deductions. More deductions eliminate taxes. Eliminated taxes mean more capital to acquire, even more assets. That is the zero tax snowball. The system wants you to be a worker because workers are predictable and taxable, but the owners are playing for keeps. Whether you are worried about being debanked or you're just tired of the financial treadmill, the solution is the same. Stop focusing on income and start focusing on ownership. Build your own bridge between banks. Secure your physical cash. Invest in assets that the tax code was designed to protect. The people who stay free while everyone else is trapped, they aren't just lucky. They saw the operating system for what it is. They built bridges before the banks closed. They held cash before the lights went out. They bought assets before the tax code changed. The silent operating system is always running. It doesn't care if you're moral. It doesn't care if you're angry. It only responds to leverage. So build yours, because the snowball is already rolling, and you don't want to be in its way.